Hey, what's up, everybody? It's BDF44 coming at you with another video. So, of course, we do have Game 3 of the Phoenix Suns Los Angeles Clippers series. Series shifts back to the Staples Center. And what I expect to see is definitely Chris Paul. He's coming back. He will be making his return this evening. And as we know, Kawhi Leonard is still out for the LA Clippers. So that means the Suns are coming in with even more firepower than they had in the last game. Now, I think for the Clippers, what the hope will be is that there is some reacclimation necessary for Chris Paul to kind of get his rhythm back, to get his legs under him, to get his wind back. Maybe they can try to take advantage of him if that is the case. Who knows what kind of cardio he's been able to do? Who knows what kind of working out he's been able to do during this process? So that's the hope, that he doesn't come in and make them better, but he comes in and makes them worse. Takes minutes away from Cameron Payne, who had obviously an awesome first couple of games. So, there is an adjustment that needs to be made for bringing him back into the lineup for the Suns. The problem is for the Clippers, he's one of the greatest players in the world, and one of the most fluent players in the world, in the sense that the ball doesn't obviously stop with him. He can shoot the ball from everywhere. He's fantastic from the line. He finishes well in the paint for his size. There's really not a whole lot he needs to do to not to fit in, basically. He doesn't have a whole lot to do to fit in, because basically his game fits in anywhere at any time, mostly, like literally. So it would be about his conditioning more so than him learning how to fit in with the team. You know what I mean? So, needless to say, the Clippers are in trouble. But what I will say is, this is Game 3 headed back to their arena. We've seen this before. They play very well in Game 3. They usually win Game 3 in these playoffs. We've seen them come back from 0-2 deficits twice. So I would expect that the Phoenix Suns would understand that it's very important to come out with the expectation that they're going to play their best basketball. So that means you got to be sharp if you're Phoenix. If you're the Clippers, what I want to see is a little more Terrence Mann in this series than I have been seeing. He obviously had that fantastic final game of the last series. I want to see him get more run out there. I want to see more Nicholas Batum than I've seen. I'm going to be looking for those type of things. It looks like Kawhi Leonard's situation is now, last thing I heard is he's not coming back. So I really don't know what to expect, but I would expect that he would not return if I'm a guessing man. So if I'm a betting man, I say no Kawhi for this series. So Paul George, he's been shooting well. I know he had a bad end to that game with the two missed free throws, but he had a couple of clutch shots right before that, including a straightaway, shot that was very, very, very key down the stretch of that game. And, all things considered, he's having a fantastic playoffs. So maybe that last game was a blip in the road. Maybe he's able to shake that off. And if he is, I would expect maybe 34 points from him tonight. 34 and 8 and 10 or something like that. Like, he's capable of doing something phenomenal. The series is shifting back to his house. All eyes are going to be on him. I don't know that I trust Paul George to bounce back from something like this. History tells us that he's probably going to continue to play poorly, or that this will affect him. But I also didn't expect him to play well really as much as he has this season. So he's already exceeded my expectations. What I will be looking for is to be pleasantly surprised by good play by Paul George tonight. I would expect him to struggle. I'm optimistic that he won't for some reason. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking to be pleasantly surprised by Paul George. I just want to see if he's really exercised some of those demons. This is a real test for him. You had a bad situation where you appear to have choked. You got all the blame, all the criticism that comes with that. If he's really shook off these demons, he'll come back and play well tonight. If he's really done the work on working on this part, I think he'll be fine, man. Because that's really what it's all about. The mechanics are there for a guy like Paul George, but he has to overcome his mind. And even though you have setbacks in situations like this, what it's most important in your progression is that you bounce back. is that you are able to get back on the confidence train and continue the process of shaking off things that happened and moving forward. So it looks like he's been working on that. And when you throw the kitchen sink, everything but the kitchen sink at somebody, they tend to be able to get used to being hit like that. So I'm curious to see if he's able to play well, because I got a feeling that he may. Patrick Beverley, somebody I'm looking at. He's been shooting well lately. I want to see if that continues. If he's shooting his three, that's a dangerous weapon for the Clippers as well. Marcus Morris, physicality. Now, this is where things get tricky for them. They don't have the athleticism in the paint necessary to keep up with Ayton. That lob play that they got at the end of that game, they're going to be able to get that a lot more. Same goes for the Atlanta Hawks Bucks series. The Atlanta Hawks have no answer for the lob play to Giannis. So you're going to see that in both series. If those two teams can take advantage of that strength, they should be able to score some easy buckets and open some things up for themselves, because the lob is always going to be there for Ayton. And now that Chris Paul is back, you best believe you're going to see it. Obviously, Chris Paul is returning to the Clipper land to play his old team in a big game. Needless to say, I expect to see the best out of Chris Paul if his conditioning is where it's supposed to be. As we've already discussed, maybe his conditioning will not be, but if he's right, he's coming into Clipperland. You know how much this means to him. In the Western Conference Finals, do you know how improbable this was? If you would have told him this would have been his circumstance at the beginning of this season or even last season, he probably would have laughed at you. But he has a chance to get back at these Clippers and take something from them. You know what I mean? Like, really stick it to him. And I think he's going to do just that. He missed the first two games of this series. I know he was itching to get back out there to join his fellas. And they held it down, man. You got to give credit to guys like Cam Payne, Cam Johnson. Both of them have made a phenomenal impact on this series. Jay Crowder continues to make an impact for his team as well. I can't give enough credit to the conditioning of DeAndre Ayton and how well he's played in these playoffs. Devin Booker's a superstar extraordinaire, killer extraordinaire, the closest thing to Kobe Bryant type of mentality that we have in this league right now, in my opinion. He's the real deal, and I know for a fact that if he starts getting a taste of winning championships, he will not stop. He's going to be one of those guys where his team is going to be at the top, or he's going to be seeking opportunities to continue to win. Killers are like that, man. Once they get a taste of what it feels like to actually win a championship, they crave that. It ain't just about winning games no more. It's about winning championships. I've seen them develop before my very eyes. Once he gets a taste of it, he's going to want it all the time. So Phoenix is in a very good spot tonight. I think that if anybody's in a position to close out a team that has had momentum going into situations like this, it would be the Phoenix Suns with these type of killers that they got on this team. As much as I like Luka Doncic, he really didn't have a second star to kind of accompany him in weathering the storm that the Clippers provided coming back from those two, that deficit. It's one of those situations as it pertains to the previous series with the Utah Jazz. I just think that they didn't have something. I don't know exactly what the Utah Jazz were missing in that series, but they just weren't able to overcome. I think they could use some more athleticism as well, particularly in their front court. So, obviously, Phoenix Suns, they don't have that problem. They have all the athleticism in the world in their front court, and they can attack the Clippers in that area repeatedly and have been with DeAndre Ayton. So, as this continues, I expect to see more of the same. I think the Clippers are going to play very well tonight because history has told us they're going to do that, but they're running into a different type of beast. Phoenix is mowing people down. They're winning close games. They're winning games they're not supposed to win. They're closing out games they are. They look like the NBA champions to me, and if they are that, they're going to put a stranglehold on this series and take a 3-0 lead tonight, and I expect them to do that very thing. Going into a hostile environment, but they got not only somebody who is comfortable in that arena, but probably the only person who's going to have their jersey retired in that arena. Like, I don't know what's going to happen with Kawhi Leonard. He's only going to be there for 2 years. I don't know if he's ever coming back. Paul George, if he doesn't win this series, I don't know what his future looks like in the Clipperland either. Blake Griffin, you could argue his jersey could be retired, and I think they should, but not before Chris Paul's. Chris Paul is the man for the Clippers. When I think of the Clippers, it's Chris Paul's. This is his team. And he's coming back here to kill them. Straight up and down. So they better be ready for that. I'm imagining a guy like Patrick Beverley's going to be checking him. and that would be wise. I'll tell you this, though. Terrence Mann is a very good defender. I'm not saying put him on Chris Paul, but I am saying pay attention to him on the defensive end because he's showing me glimpses of being special on both sides of the floor. And he's one of the more athletic players out there for the Clippers. So in situations where they'll need to switch off and things of that nature, he's going to be the guy that I'm going to be looking at to be able to chase guys around and do some of the dirty work on Booker and Chris Paul. Mikal Bridges will continue to play well. I haven't heard anybody mention this. I think I've mentioned it maybe like 4 or 5 times, but Philly, I haven't forgotten what you did to Mikal Bridges and his mom's. That boy's going to turn into a superstar, maybe an NBA champion, while you guys are sitting back dealing with Ben Simmons and that nonsense. I ain't forgot about that, and I'm pretty sure his family hasn't either. Anyway, that's all I want to say about that. So, with that being said, hey, you got my prediction, man. I think Phoenix is going to take a 3-0 lead in this series, and we'll go from there. I didn't think this series would be a short series, but I also didn't think the Phoenix Suns would win both games without Chris Paul. Winning both games without Chris Paul was pretty much a death sentence, knowing that he was going to be coming back for Game 3. Maybe the Clippers do the impossible. I just don't see it. Not with him coming home to play the Clippers in the Western Conference Finals. I just can't see them winning a game in this series anymore. With him getting a chance to have this type of game in that arena, he's going to kill him. He's going to kill him. So that's what I expect to happen. Chris Paul, if he's in good shape and he doesn't have any health setbacks for the rest of these next 2 games, I expect the Suns to win both of these next 2 games. And that's with the Clippers playing well. This game could go to overtime because I do expect the Clippers are going to play very, very well. But I ultimately expect them to lose. Why? Because the Suns got the better killers on their squad. They got the better killers. That's that simple. No Kawhi Leonard, no chance you get out of this series, Clippers. Sorry. Suns in 4. My name is BDF44. Thank you guys for watching. Enjoy Game 3. I'm out.